There are points in life when you can intuitively feel that something extraordinary is on the verge of unfolding. You might not be able to describe it clearly, but deep within your soul, you recognize a transformation. It's as though the winds of purpose have begun shifting direction, as though the quiet before the breakthrough is filled with sacred anticipation. I want to encourage you today that when all seems unstable, when you're cornered by circumstances, and when you can't envision a way forward, God is about to deliver something massive that will astonish everyone watching. It won't be a tiny reward. It won't be something routine. It will be something so mighty, so absolutely undeniable, that even those who dismissed you will stand speechless. When God chooses to move in your journey, no power can hinder Him. You may have waited patiently for years, prayed with aching tears, clung to hope while everything else seemed to fall apart. But when the destined time arrives, God transforms your waiting into wonder and awe. He doesn't just replace what you lost. He increases it exponentially. He doesn't just crack open a door. He constructs an entirely different path forward. You see, God is a master of the unexpected. He is not confined by what others anticipate, say, or judge. When He blesses, He does so in a way that causes the world to take notice and be moved. Some of you have walked through periods of delay, uncertainty, and isolation. You've asked, Lord, why is this taking forever? You've cried silently into your pillow, wondering when your deliverance will appear. But what if I told you the delay wasn't rejection? It was holy preparation for greatness. What if I told you that every door that stayed shut was God anchoring the foundation for something beyond imagination? Sometimes God hides your breakthrough behind and letdowns to deepen your trust. Sometimes He allows others to bypass you so that when He lifts you, it's clear it was His doing alone. You might feel overlooked right now, but you have not been abandoned. You might feel small, but you've been handpicked. You might feel stuck, but God is actively working in the invisible. The unseen hand of God is orchestrating events, aligning key people, and staging opportunities that will soon intersect with your calling. There's a divine reason your name hasn't been spoken yet. There's a divine reason certain opportunities didn't arrive when you wanted them to. God wasn't ignoring your cries. He was guarding the magnitude of what He's preparing to release into your life's journey. What's coming is so extraordinary that it demands perfect timing, emotional strength, and a sanctified environment. You see, when God is ready to bless you abundantly, He doesn't just shape the promise. He prepares your character. He purifies your motives, stretches your patience, and cultivates your faith. He removes the weak pieces so that what remains can hold the magnitude of glory that's soon to manifest. The reason some blessings arrive slowly is because they're more immense than you envisioned. You can't force sacred timing. What you're desperately praying for is already en route to you, but it's waiting for you to be fully ready to carry its weight. When God begins to move, the silence will not remain forever. The day will come when stillness shatters and light bursts through. That is the moment you'll understand why you had to wait, why the trials had purpose, and why certain people had to walk away. God was preparing the scene. He was crafting a narrative that would not only uplift you, but ignite faith in those around you. And when the breakthrough arrives, it won't just raise you up, it will also humble your heart. You'll glance back and understand that the pain had purpose. The weeping was planting, and the waiting was the ground where the miracle began to grow. Do you understand why God permits certain individuals to misjudge you? Because He intends to use their disbelief as the backdrop for His divine glory. When He favors you, it won't just silence your critics. It will serve as a global reminder that only God determines who ascends and who is brought low. That's why you must not rely on human approval. People may fail to recognize what God is orchestrating in your life, but their lack of belief does not cancel your calling. What God has established for you is immune to the opinions of others. You might be standing in the eye of the storm, but that's the very place where God reveals His might. He performs His most powerful work in the middle of turmoil. He shifts conclusions into fresh beginnings, ruins into radiance, and sorrow into declarations of victory. Don't let the night deceive you. The darkest hour often comes just before daybreak. God has never overlooked your commitment. He has never ignored your cries. He has witnessed every hour of persistence, every decision to obey, and each time you picked faith instead of fear. He noticed the evenings you nearly gave up but held on. And now the reward for your endurance is on the horizon. The same individuals who once doubted your potential will soon observe firsthand what unfolds when God intervenes. You won't need to justify your journey. You won't need to validate your value. The outcome will declare it all. God will broadcast your name in spaces you've never stepped into. He will unlock entrances no one else can close. He will raise you to positions that make it evident it was His strength, not yours, that carried you forward. Some of you have been measuring your process against someone else's. You've seen their victories and asked, when will my moment come? But what's coming to you is incomparable. It's tailor-made. God's intention for your life isn't a replica of someone else's favor. It's one of a kind, shaped by your calling, your sorrow, and your divine mission. That's why it feels unfamiliar. That's why it's taking more time. You're not delayed. You're being developed for something far beyond the normal. The world may consider you ordinary, but God sees you as chosen. You are not lost among the masses. You've been divinely selected for a sacred unveiling. The outpouring God is preparing to release in your life will not only surprise others, it will rebuild your assurance that He has always been near. The exact people who overlooked you will eventually have to acknowledge the hand of God in your story. The roles are shifting, and when they do, remember that humility will preserve what divine favor opens. When God entrusts you with something massive, it's never solely for you. It's for His greater plan operating through you. The gift is more than a prize. It's a purpose-filled responsibility. It's meant to change lives, stir faith, and remind the world that God still moves mountains. That's why you can't allow the season of waiting to poison your spirit. Don't let frustration rob your praise. Praise is the anthem of belief even before the miracle arrives. When you continue exalting God while everything remains the same, you're demonstrating that your faith isn't based on conditions, it's rooted in deep conviction. Understand, faith doesn't dismiss the hurt, but it refuses to allow pain to dictate the final outcome. Faith declares, I can't see it right now, but I trust it's on the way. And that type of belief stirs the very heart of God. It triggers movement in the invisible realm. It opens gateways that logic alone can't comprehend. Each time you choose trust instead of fear, you pull heaven's promise closer. Every time you believe in the midst of pain, you quicken divine schedules. You may feel invisible for now, but soon your name will be remembered. You may feel bypassed, but you're about to be abundantly blessed. What lies ahead will far outweigh anything you've left behind. This season won't end with lack. It will transition you into a season of overflow. The same God who saw you shattered is about to restore you in ways that will leave even your opposers astonished. You'll go from being pitied to being celebrated. But let me remind you, God's favor doesn't always come wrapped in ease. Sometimes, before He gives you something massive, He must first disrupt everything around you. He will detach people, shut doors, and rearrange surroundings not to harm, but to equip you. The shaking is actually a sign that greatness is settling into place. Don't panic when things begin falling apart. Often, it's the crumbling of the temporary that makes way for what's eternal. When it feels like all is resisting you, that's when your divine shift is near. The pressure you're sensing isn't meant to break you down. It's intended to lift you up. Diamonds are born under intense force. Gold is refined by intense heat. And faith is developed through trials. That's why God allows certain hardships to linger beyond your liking, because He's not just crafting your blessing, He's constructing your endurance. He's preparing you to handle the weight of what He's sending. So, don't despise the development. Don't curse your season of delay. Don't let irritation blind you to what God is cultivating in secret. Every whispered petition, every silent tear, every private sacrifice, they have all been noticed. God stores every tear. He counts every step. And when the appointed moment arrives, He pours out favor equal to the pain you endured. The deeper the hardship, the greater the unveiling. You're nearer than you realize. You're standing at the edge of a shift that won't merely bless you, it will redefine you. What's coming will help you understand the reason for every painful step. It will quiet every lingering doubt and prove that God was trustworthy all along. This next release won't be ordinary. It will be miraculous. It won't be momentary. It will be life-altering. And it won't just astonish the people around you. It will astound even your own soul. There will be times when you will stand amazed, unable to explain the supernatural outcome. You'll reflect and recognize that every delay was a direction. Every heartbreak was realignment. Every setback was divine setup. God wasn't postponing your purpose. He was perfecting it. He waited for the precise moment when His glory would shine most brightly through your life. So, stay grounded. Keep the faith alive. Continue expecting. Don't allow hopelessness to take hold. God's not done writing your story. In fact, He's only beginning the most powerful chapter yet. The very same God who turned darkness into brightness, disorder into divine order, and hopelessness into purpose is now about to revise your story in such a powerful way that no one will be able to deny it was His miraculous work. And when that moment arrives, don't forget to glorify Him fully. Don't conceal what He has accomplished. Proclaim the testimony of His kindness. Let your breakthrough be a declaration that reminds everyone that God is still sovereign over all things. Let your journey become living proof that trusting Him is never in vain. Because what is about to unfold will not only astonish everyone watching it, will ignite belief in those who had lost their faith. God is getting ready to turn your experience into a living proclamation of His might, His precision, and His never-failing mercy. So, raise your head high, dry your tears, square your shoulders. The same God who vowed to bring you through is about to lift you above. The same God who found you in your lowest place is ready to place you on higher ground. You've wept long enough. You've lingered long enough. The moment of divine manifestation is approaching. What lies ahead won't merely make you smile. It will cause you to cry tears of thankfulness, because you'll realize it wasn't by chance. It wasn't fate. It wasn't the world. It was always God. And when it arrives, it will be massive, larger than your sorrow, greater than your doubts, beyond what you thought was gone. So immense that even your adversaries will say, "Surely God was with them." So immense that those who abandoned you will regret leaving. So immense that your narrative will shift from heartbreak to healing, from waiting to winning, from barely surviving to living in abundance. This is your moment of holy surprise. God has seen the extent of your pain. He has counted every tear. And now He's preparing to release a reward for your unwavering trust. Don't surrender right before it appears, because the upcoming chapter in your life will be the one that defines your legacy. God is about to deliver something so monumental that it won't just impact you, but everyone connected to your purpose. And when that moment comes, remember, it was never postponed. It was predestined. When God gets ready to bestow something miraculous upon you, He often begins by clearing away the unnecessary. He removes what can no longer remain, even if the process hurts. He distances you from certain spaces. individuals, and behaviors, because what's about to enter your life demands a fresh level of holiness, clarity, and faithfulness. You may question why He took away what once seemed essential, but He was aware of what you couldn't perceive. He knew that what once helped you would eventually hinder your progress. God never removes without a divine purpose to expand. Every subtraction is part of His higher plan. When something exits your life unexpectedly, don't panic. Look deeper. Often it's divine pruning before supernatural growth. Sometimes you pray for a breakthrough, and instead of immediate blessing, you face trials. That's because God understands the magnitude of what He's about to place in your hands, and He must first ensure your foundation is stable enough to hold it. Many people desire the crown, but resist the refining process. But God doesn't entrust greatness to those who aren't ready. He molds you through the waiting, the silence, the pain, through every delay, every closed door, and every quiet moment. Those are the training grounds of your destiny. They cultivate humility, grip, and deeper reliance. You can't develop faith in comfort. Faith is cultivated when there's no evidence left, only your trust in God's unchanging promise. There are moments when it feels like God is quiet, but His silence is not absence. It's intention. It's a strategy. He is coordinating details your eyes are not yet ready to perceive. While you're doubting, He's designing. While you're stressing, He's setting things in motion. The silent seasons are when God performs His most important work. He conceals you in full view while He shapes you into someone who can carry significant purpose. He doesn't unveil you prematurely because early exposure can damage potential. That's why it feels like you're being delayed, but you're not being delayed. You're being preserved for something more profound. When the promise finally manifests, it will be obvious why it took time. You'll understand that God wasn't behind schedule. He was establishing everything in heavenly timing. You'll discover that the season you assumed was wasted was actually divine training. And the individuals who left weren't abandoning you. They were clearing space for the ones meant to support your next level. Sometimes God removes what's familiar to highlight your mission. He stirs you so that you'll chase your destiny. What you believed was collapse was truly a hidden breakthrough. And when that breakthrough arrives, it won't be minor or hidden. It will be obvious. God will ensure that those who once questioned your future will witness your elevation. He won't just return your honor. He will increase it. The same voices that ridiculed you will mention you with admiration. The same eyes that ignored you will be drawn to the evidence of His work in you. When God chooses to bless, He doesn't do it secretly. He displays His greatness through your life's testimony. But here's the reality many overlook. Before every significant promise, there's a divine examination. The bigger the assignment, the deeper the testing. God will assess your motives, your endurance, and your loyalty. He'll observe how you behave when access is denied. Will you still believe when clarity is absent? Will you still worship when your requests seem unanswered? Because it's easy to thank God once the blessing arrives, but authentic faith praises Him beforehand. True faith rejoices during the process. You see, the individuals who astonish the world with their favor are the ones who refuse to surrender to discouragement. They remained loyal when everything crumbled. They continued planting seeds when the ground appeared dry. They kept trusting when reason said it was hopeless. God observes that type of belief closely because it reveals steadfast reliance. That's the kind of spirit He can entrust with greatness. That's the kind of vessel He can use to manifest His strength. So never assume for a second that your dedication goes unseen. Every act of obedience, every quiet prayer, every moment you battled despair, God saw it all. The world might have missed it, but heaven recorded it, and heaven has already set the date for your blessing. When it arrives, it won't merely bless your current moment. It will restore your history. It will give purpose to your wounds. It will bring understanding to confusion. It will prove that not one of your tears was wasted. There is a cadence to divine scheduling. God operates with accuracy. When He chooses to display His grace, it happens all at once. 1 second, everything feels normal. The next, your whole world is transformed. In one single hour, Joseph transitioned from prisoner to leader. In a single night, the water split for an entire people. In one dawn, brightness pierced through after a long storm. When God chooses to act, He doesn't ask for approval. He simply declares and everything responds. That's the level of authority that's about to touch your life. And when it unfolds, it won't just surprise others. It will transform how you see yourself. You will look inward and declare, only God could have accomplished this. The greatness of the miracle will leave you in awe. It will remind you that all the hardship wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It will remind you that every time you believed you were buried, you were really being rooted. What developed through your hardship will now produce harvest for years to come. But always remember this, the larger the favor, the heavier the obligation. When God elevates you, it's not only for your benefit, it's for His intention. He blesses you so that you become a beacon of light in a broken world. Your overflow is meant to bring hope to others. Your deliverance should fuel belief in those still holding on. The gift is both a blessing and a calling. It carries a purpose greater than yourself. So, protect your spirit. When achievement arrives, don't let ego replace devotion. Don't let applause drown out humility. Remain rooted in thankfulness. God's blessings are holy and they require responsibility. He gives abundance to those who can manage it without losing reverence. That's why some only experience temporary prosperity. They honored the blessing but forgot the blesser. But those who remain focused on God never lose His gifts because they understand that grace is upheld through loyalty. Sometimes people will be amazed by your breakthrough, not out of jealousy, but they know your journey. They remember your struggle. They understand your endurance. They'll observe your rise and know it couldn't be coincidence. It had to be divine orchestration. And when that takes place, you'll become proof that God isn't confined by history, status, or logic. He can elevate anyone from any place to any destiny. The reason God allowed certain things to crush you was to demonstrate that only He could rebuild you. He permitted the defeat to show that real victory doesn't come from effort, but from perfect timing. He allowed disloyalty to show that His faithfulness outweighs any man's allegiance. Every scar you carry isn't a symbol of failure, it's a seal of endurance. Each one echoes how God sustained you when all else collapsed. Don't overlook what God can accomplish in one supernatural moment. Years of hardship can be undone in a single act of favor. Doors you pushed at for decades can suddenly open without resistance. People who forgot you can unexpectedly remember your name. Traps that held you down can shift instantly. That's the power in God's decree. It doesn't rely on time. It defines it. When He declares it's your time, everything aligns. Some of you are standing at the threshold of that very moment. You can feel the pressure in the atmosphere. You can sense the transformation is near. Don't dismiss that prompting. It's the indication of heaven's movement. When the answer comes, it won't arrive silently. It will be filled with direction, confirmation, and meaning. It will be so undeniable that even you will cry out in awe and worship. But while you wait, maintain your posture with the right attitude. Keep walking in uprightness. Keep releasing those who offended you. Keep offering grace when it's not reciprocated. Keep planting seeds of kindness even when the ground feels barren. Because God evaluates character before He releases calling. He examines the position of your heart before He delivers the breakthrough. You cannot step into greatness with resentment still rooted in you. Let go of what wounded you so you can embrace what's designed for you. And don't overlook humble starts. God frequently conceals major miracles in small expressions of faith. What appears minor now is often the beginning of something massive. That quiet step of surrender, that private whisper of belief, that modest resolve to press forward when everything resists, all of it generates momentum in the invisible realm. When the moment arrives, those tiny seeds will erupt into a harvest so massive it will amaze even you. When others ask how it unfolded, you'll simply respond, God. Because there will be no other valid explanation. It won't be your network. It won't be your assets. It won't even be your effort. It will be God's authentic, undeniable, unmistakable strength. He will elevate you into rooms that don't match your resume. He will grant triumphs that defy your understanding. He will open passageways where none existed before. And throughout it all, hold on to this truth. Blessings are not prizes for flawlessness, but for persistence. You don't have to be perfect to walk in favor. You simply have to be consistent. God sees beyond your failures. He perceives the purity of your motives, the steady trust that refuses to quit, the flame of hope that continues burning through midnight hours. And for that belief, He will reward you. Your narrative is far from finished. In reality, the most radiant chapters haven't even been written yet. You are standing at the threshold of divine completion. The endless nights are concluding. The current is shifting. The hidden season is about to transition into recognition. And when light shines, it will unveil not only what you endured, but who you became through it. What's coming will not only stun everyone, it will uplift everyone who witnesses it. They will recognize in you the evidence that God still performs wonders. They will recall your belief and gain courage for their own situations. Your triumph will become living proof of what's possible for those who choose not to quit. So, hang on, even when you're exhausted. Keep believing, even when you feel blind. Keep anticipating, even when the pressure seems unbearable. Because when it arrives, and it will arrive, it will justify every tear, every surrender, and every hidden cry. God is preparing to release something so vast that it will silence every voice of doubt, restore every setback, and confirm that His promises never miss their mark. It's not distant. It's not imaginary. It's already etched into your purpose. And when divine timing strikes, it will manifest with such intensity and accuracy that no one, not even you, will be able to doubt that it was God who brought it forth. When God is on the verge of transforming your life, He often does so in a way that overrides human reasoning. He takes what was once ignored and turns it into a revelation of His brilliance. He takes the stone the builders dismissed and establishes it as the foundation of something new. You may assume that your flaws, your hardship, and your painful seasons have ruled you out. But God doesn't view your life through the filter of your history. He sees it through the destiny He planted in you before time began. What may seem like a conclusion to you is often just the opening to Him. When God offers your next season, He writes with ink made of compassion and favor. The same God who watched you at your lowest is now preparing to raise you to a position that will silence every whisper of doubt for good. Sometimes God conceals your miracle inside something that appears to be a meltdown. You believe everything is falling apart, but in truth, it's being restructured. The walls you assumed were closing in are actually guiding you toward the entrance that leads to your purpose. God specializes in turning what was meant to harm you into the bridge that carries you into your breakthrough. That's why you can't afford to lose control in the midst of the process. What feels like ruin may be a renovation. You can't view the blueprint yet, but God is constructing something that will last. He's not simply repairing what was broken. He's overhauling the very structure of your life so that what's next can endure whatever comes. Understand this. When God chooses to promote you, He doesn't check with your skeptics. He doesn't seek consent from those who underestimated you. He has no need for validation from those who questioned your value. He just speaks your name. And when He calls you forward, no one can undo it.